just a little walkthrough and kind of show, what are some of the things I'm looking for and kind of what the plants are telling me today. So we did 3 plantings due to the weather, 3 transplant events. The first one was about 2.5 weeks ago, and then we did one about 6 days after that, and then about a week ago we did the third. So they've been kind of spaced 3 plantings about every 5 to 7 days. All right, here we are about 2.5 weeks after our first planting, and about 6 days a week after our second planting. The first planting I went through with a 58-inch rotavator and just rotavated in between the rows. You can see there, and cleaned it up really well. Broke the crust up a little bit. I don't think I hit a single plant. I was pretty careful. So here's what we got today. We got some good rain. Things are growing. You can see here where this plant here was on some real light sandy soil, but plenty of deluge of rain. These plants are really going. These have been out here. This is one of the first plantings. And then you can see out here, planted about a week later. They're just a little smaller, looking a little peaked. They're probably putting that taproot down and just a little bit behind. But some of these ones that have been out here for a while, mercy, they're really coming. So we're going to be getting drip tape in the mail here tonight, and we'll get that done tomorrow, and we'll start pumping some nutrients to this plant, and then we'll really see it grow. So here we are. Here's the final planting. We did this last week. These were transplants that were starting to get root bound in the tray. So we took a half a day and we actually upplanted them into larger trays. It was a pretty big job, but it was the right decision because these plants got plenty of growth in the trays. It was a lot of work to have to retransplant them, but they got planted into nice dry soil where that middle planting got planted a little wet, and we might have hurt the yield a little bit there. But these are the newest ones, and in my opinion, they look the best. We'll see if they were in the trays the longest and they got moved in and out of trays and stuff. So time will tell whether or not we should have just waited to plant the whole thing. Maybe, wait until it's ready, perhaps, or get it in when the time allowed. So there was two schools of thought, and we did both of them. So we'll kind of have a little comparison to see whether the ones that got in, right on time, the ones that got in a few days after in some less than ideal wet conditions, and then these ones here that were upplanted to larger trays and allowed to wait for some good weather, ideal conditions. So my money would be on this third planting. These ones look really good, really tall. The nodal spacing on these looks a little less than ideal, but again, I'm not really a hemp grower yet, so I don't know. Here's a shot of one, and it looks pretty good, nice and healthy. Those bottom leaves are starting to drop off, meaning I think it's going to be putting a taproot down here pretty soon if it hasn't already started. But these nodes, these branching, in an ideal situation, you want to see as many of those as you can, and these look a little tall. So maybe that's a result of being in the trays longer. Maybe those branches will kick out here soon. I'm not quite sure, but I think it's interesting that the ones that stayed in the trays longer are kind of tall, healthy looking to me, but I have done a little research and read that you want to see more internodal spacing. You want to see it tighter, and I'll come up to another plant up here that I know is an example of that. So here's one of the first plantings. So this is what I'd call ideal. You can see that there's just so much more. That nodal spacing is very tight, and that's just more biomass. This plant's going to make more biomass than those tall ones down there, even though those tall ones are nice and tall and pretty. We'll just have to wait and see what we get. So that's all for today. We'll do drip tape tomorrow.